Zach Ertz last year, 66 receptions, 91 targets, 654 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Thoughts on Zach Ertz?
I think the addition of Deebo Samuel in Washington is really going to eat into some of the routes that Zach Ertz was able to be productive on. Again, maybe we'll see it differently, but we saw that that's kind of Debo's route tree, right? Debo's in the middle of the field. He moves the chains, big body. Yes, he can be explosive. But when you have McLaurin on the outside, you don't need Debo to be down the field explosive. You need him to, find the hole of the zone and sit down and keep the ball moving. So I am a little worried about Ertz this year, because I think we see some regression with the addition of Debo, and another year of Jaden Daniels developing a little bit. So, I still think you're going to see some production out of Ertz, but because of Debo, your ceiling's kind of capped. And in a best ball format, you kind of want those pop weeks where you're drafting him. You do get fair value, right? Like it's not, you're drafting him late enough that you need him to crack your starting lineup once. If he gets there twice, theoretically, that's money in the bank, from where you're drafting Zach Ertz. I do think that will happen, but holistically, I'm intrigued, but it's got to be the right situation, and I'm going to have to really like how my roster is kind of constructed when he's coming up on the board.
So I like Zach Ertz a lot. Super intrigued by him in a best ball format, because the touchdown upside is there, but you can't account for touchdowns week in, week out, right? We saw him go off the last bit of the season with touchdowns, and if you had him those weeks, it was probably pretty beneficial in your playoff run, right? So he scores touchdowns in week 11, week 12, week 13. The week 14 bye last week was brutal. Their bye this week is week 12, so that's also brutal. But I like him in best ball formats because of that touchdown upside. I think he's not a consistent start play for me. But I do like where he's at with the quarterback that he is. The rapport he's developing with his quarterback.
The one good thing about Zach Ertz is that, yeah, he's a tight end that's really not going to go out there and get you a goose egg on that one, right? Like Zach Ertz, very consistently the 4 for 40 guy, right? If he falls into the end zone, yeah, he'll get you a usable week. If he doesn't, he's not going to goose egg you and lose you the week, but it's not going to be an overly great week for you out of the position as well. So one of those that, if I'm kind of punting the position altogether when it comes to tight ends for redraft, yep, Zach Ertz is a guy that I'll look at just from a standpoint of I can have him on my roster. I'll likely get that 5 to 6 points out of him in a half point PPR league, and I get a goose egg. It'll allow me to really hone my roster in some other areas to try and bring that thing home. And a best ball format, right? Like it's if he happens to fall into the end zone, that'll be a usable week. And if he doesn't, hopefully he was your third tight end that you put on that the roster in that type of format. So